We're almost halfway in our track of the mighty Nile in its journey across Egypt, trying to figure out how far it has affected life here. We started in Aswan, moved to Luxor, and now we are right here in the heart of Cairo, this city that is full of life and energy. At the back, the mighty Nile with lots of activities. As you can hear, lots of noise and music. Lots of people are down in the street to have fun, and others are going back after a very long day of work. It's traffic jam down there. It's a lot of activities and noise, as I say. Right here with me in the heart of Cairo, my co-anchor Penina. Penina, tell me, this is almost halfway in our coverage. What are the catchy moments for you during this coverage? And tell me more about the things you've done so far.
Oh, Mohammed, Aswan's captured my heart. I mean, it's got this beautiful landscape, just watching this desert unfold in front of you, the rolling hills, the huge rocks, the river cutting right across all of that. That was, of course, my trip to the temples. It was great just walking into those chambers where maybe the pharaohs, obviously the high priest, also offered sacrifices and worshipped their gods. But of course, there is Aswan city itself. It's a sparsely populated city, but very closely knit together. Everybody knows everybody, and there's a very homely feeling to that. And so you walk in and almost immediately feel at home. And then, of course, there was the trip by Yasser Hakim through the Valley of Kings and Queens. These were the great leaders of ancient Egypt, and just seeing where they were laid to rest, it was just incredible. So throughout this journey, one thing has emerged, and that's just how important the River Nile is to Egypt. But this river is also facing one huge challenge, and that's pollution. Here's Yasser Hakim with more.
Just north of Cairo, the river splits ahead of its final run to the sea. To the northeast flows the Damietta Arm. To the northwest, the Rashid Branch, and that's where our journey takes us.
Here in Qanater, this weir allows the locals to walk on water, almost. But it's also a catch point for rubbish and waste thrown into the river. It might look beautiful from the outside, but this glass of water could be a lethal cocktail.
The water contains effluent from factories, chemicals from farming, and the untreated waste from at least 40% of Egypt's households. At times, the Nile is so poisonous, treatment plants on the Rashid Branch can't cope, and the entire water supply is cut off. People here live daily with the reality of the Nile's pollution, and they're worried.
الحمد لله. قول لي النيل بالنسبة لك عامل ازاي؟
النيل بالنسبة للمصريين هو هبة الحياة. لولا النيل ما نعرفش نعيش.
طب والناس الحاجات اللي الناس بتعملها في النيل والوساخة اللي بتترمي؟
والله هو المفروض بص عندنا حاجة اسمها وزارة الري، المفروض تنزل قانون عقوبات وغرامات تبقى حاجة شديدة شوية.
يعني انا كنت مثلا في مصيف بلاقي السفينه بتصفي مثلا فيها الحمامات بتاعت السفينه
على الميه بتاعتها.
في قلب الميه والبلاك والقرف كل ده بينزل في الميه، فده طبعا ما ينفعش.
يعني القاء الكمامه فيه وفي مخلفات مصانع بتنزل فيه والحاجات دي كلها لازم توصل لدرجه الحبس وغرامات تبقى غرامات عاليه، يبقى ايه ترهيب للناس بس.
On the surface, the Nile can be beautiful, the gift of life indeed. But often, it's not a very clean one. Just below the surface, pollutants mar the majesty of this great river.
So what's the answers to all this? To find out, we're going back to Cairo to meet the man who is in charge of cleaning up the River Nile.
Ahmed Abel Saud heads Egypt's Environmental Affairs Agency. The Nile is his biggest challenge.
River Nile is the life for Egypt, and this is almost the sole source of fresh water for the Egyptians. That's why the Ministry of Environment is putting the depolluting the River Nile is one of the first priority.
The government has already forced dozens of factories to clean up their act, but they're not the biggest culprit.
We have also the sewage, the untreated sewage water that municipal sewage that goes to the drains and from the drains to the River Nile, because the sewage surfaces is not yet covered in whole Egypt. It's high in the urban areas, but it's very low in the rural areas, in the villages,
what are the efforts by the ministry and the government to eradicate the pollution of the Nile?
We have to reach the people themselves. Maybe the language has to be changed. We have to talk to the people with the language they can understand.
Even if all goes to plan, the government says cleaning up this river could take at least 15 years and around $15 billion.
What the Nile needs now is for Egyptians to change the way they treat the river. The gift of life can no longer double up as a waste disposal unit.
It's ironic that people saying that Egypt is the gift of the Nile are almost the same people polluting it. We have a major problem here in Egypt and we have to face it. And as the experts said, we have to engage ordinary people in preserving and protecting the Nile.
Just look at this, Mohammed.
Yes.
It looks like one big continuous party. Is this how a typical night in Cairo looks like?
Usually when it's night, everybody goes out, especially in summer nights, have fun. It's like the place for fun for rich and poor, from all walks of life. If you're a rich person, you'll go to a cafe or a restaurant and pay a lot of money. But if you're an ordinary person with a family, you'll just walk by, have a felucca or a motorboat and have fun, listen to music and enjoy lots of activities down the river.
Right, and I noticed there were, of course, young couples along the bridge. That's about late in the afternoon, just taking a stroll, taking pictures, holding hands. Looked like quite a romantic moment there.
Let me tell you, Panina, walking across the Nile in Egypt is a very romantic experience that almost every Egyptian has done in one way or the other during his life. And it's very associated to Egyptians being part of the Nile.
And also I've noticed another interesting thing is traffic here gets worse at night as opposed to most other places where it's worse during the day and eases off at night as people go home.
But if you camera can get down to the street now, it's plenty of cars jammed in the street because, as I said, some people are coming back from a very long day of work and others are getting out to start their day out or their night out with their family and have some fun, drinking some tea or maybe some eating termis or, grilled corn. This is very famous, very typical Egyptian here. You should try it, Panina.
I will, most definitely. So you could say the city is more perhaps active during the night than it is during the day.
Almost, I would say that.
It's quite interesting. It's a city that never sleeps, almost quite literally.
Yes, exactly.
But it's not all fun and games here in Cairo. Just further away, not too far from Cairo, is a very serene, very tranquil island. And people there are making money quite literally from the Nile waters. Here's Famida Miller.
Downtown Cairo and millions of inhabitants. Capital city filled with traffic and noise. But just outside the city, there's an oasis of calm and tranquility. The ever-encroaching reach of the metropolis surrounds this island. On the map, it's called Jasirat al-Quraytin. To the people who live here, it's the island of honeymaking. They form a community in the middle of the Nile, north of Cairo, that's almost completely self-sufficient. Families have lived here for decades, maintaining a simple life. Even as just across the river, the city grows ever bigger around them. Bassem Abdelhai's family's been farming here for over 40 years. It's hard, but it's a life he's grown to love. And it's a life lived in what's in effect a giant garden. Much of the land is set aside for roses. They're known across the region for their sweet scent and are big sellers in Cairo. Jasirat al-Quraytin's bananas are also in much demand.
When will they be ready for harvest?
طبعا هو الموز طبعا بيكون من الفاكهه الوحيده اللي ما بيستويش على الشجر، وعلشان يستوي لازم بيخش في حاجه اسمها ثلاجه حراره. ازاي بيعرف الفلاح ان الموز استوت او لا؟ من الزهره دي، كل يوم بيقع منها ورقه لوحدها على الارض زي كده. لما الزهره كلها بتخلص ما بيكونش جواها ولا ورقه، بيعرف كده الفلاح ان الموزه استوت. بعد كده بيقطعها من نصها، بيرمي النص اللي فوق، وبياخد بس الموزه دي بيحطها جوه غرفه، بيحط معاها فحم، بيطلع حراره، الحراره بتنشف الغذاء اللي جوه الموزه، بتجف خالص، بتموت، بتصفر، وبعد كده بننزلها على السوق. ليه بنقطعها من النص زي كده؟ عشان دي جواها في ميه فيها غذاء عايزين نستفاد بيها مره تانيه.
Water is pumped directly from the Nile, which in turn feeds the ditches which crisscross the island.
It's a very simple setup. What you see here demonstrates what helped create Egypt, channeling water from the Nile to bring life to the land.
Meeting for lunch on the banks of this great river are some of the island's honey farmers. There's a real sense of shared purpose and community here.
Self-sustainability stretches to the food. Everything we're eating here today is from the island. There's cheese as well as a flatbread and the honey. Its special and distinctive color mostly comes from the bees in the area. Bassem, tell me about the honey because it really is quite delicious.
طبعا احنا عندنا بالنسبه للجزيره عشان فيها الزهور وفيها جميع الاشجار بنجيب المناحل. بعد كده لما لقينا الموضوع هيبقى كويس معانا ان احنا نجيب النحل يتغذى تغذيه كويسه جدا، جبنا المناحل وحطيناها جوه الجزيره، والنحل بقى يتغذى وبقى يطلع انتاج كويس جدا، والعسل هنا طبيعي 100%، مش محتاجين احنا نحط فيه اي مواد غش عشان خاطر احنا عندنا الجزيره كلها مبنيه على الزراعه وكده.
Honey making depends on the season and slows down in the colder months.
It's a very beautiful time of day now, Bassem. Tell me, what attracts you to being here?
بالنسبه للجزيره احنا عايشين فيها هنا، انا حابب ان انا اعيش فيها عشان الجو بتاعها كويس، بعيد عن عوادم السيارات او اي مصانع او اي حاجه، بعيد عن دوشه القاهره. فانا حابب ان انا اعيش فيها عشان جوها كويس والناس ناس طيبين، وانا اتعودت على كده وعايز اعيش زي اهلي.
It's a circle of life played out in the middle of the Nile. And after a hard day's work, the men relax over shisha and sweet Arabic coffee in a workplace they also call home.
A day in the life on the island is drawing to a close, and so far of all the places I've been to on the Nile, this is certainly the most tranquil. It's quite apparent why, for those living on the island of honey making, life is so sweet.
Of course, for me, that life is so sweet as long as you keep it simple and away from pollution and noise. But for others, city with noise and corruption and everything and life and power is where they want to live. They cannot leave the city. It's up for you, our viewers, to decide where to live. That's it for today. Thanks for watching us, and the noise and music continues here at night in Cairo.